This video was brought to you by Brilliant, and the first 200 people to sign up using the link below will get 20% off an annual premium subscription. On Monday, Russia cut off all gas going through Nordstream 1, the largest functioning natural gas pipeline running from Russia into Europe. Now, while this closure was part of scheduled maintenance, over the past month or so, Russia has been steadily reducing the amount of gas going into Europe. And many commentators and politicians think Russia is unlikely to turn the gas back on when the 10-day maintenance period is up. So, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at what's going on with Nord Stream, whether Putin will turn off the gas, and how the EU might respond. So, to properly understand this story, we need a bit of context. As you probably already know, Europe is pretty reliant on Russia for its energy imports. Historically, Russia has supplied about 40% of the EU's imported natural gas and about 25% of its imported oil. The greater reliance on gas is because most gas is transported via pipelines from Russia into Europe, where oil is often transported in barrels. So, while Europe could replace its Russian oil supply by just buying barrels of oil from somewhere else, if it wants to divest away from Russian gas, it'll either have to create a new pipeline from other countries, which will take time and money, or buy liquefied natural gas on the international markets, which is significantly more expensive and requires special port facilities. The UK and the Baltics have taken steps away from Russian gas and have complete embargoes on Russian energy. But the EU hasn't made such drastic moves and currently only has a plan to divest away from Russian oil imports, not gas. This means that despite some countries moving away from Russian energy, Russia still represents at least 20% of Europe's total imports at the moment. Anyway, this gas flows into Europe via four main pipeline systems. Nord Stream, sometimes called Nord Stream 1, which runs through the Baltic Sea straight to Germany. Yamal Europe, which runs via Belarus into Poland and then into Germany. The Ukraine Transit System, which refers to a web of pipelines running through Ukraine and into Central Europe. And Turkstream, which runs via the Black Sea into Turkey. The largest of these is Nord Stream, which has a maximum capacity of about 170 million cubic meters per day. In 2021, Nord Stream basically pumped at full capacity year-round. For context, the entire Ukraine transit route came in at about an average of 115 MCM. Yamal Europe about 80, and Turkstream about 35. All these pipelines then branch out further into Europe, allowing Russian gas to flow all the way to Western European countries like France, Italy, and even Portugal. Anyway, as we detailed in our previous video, 2 weeks ago, Russia started limiting the amount of gas flowing through Nord Stream 1. Russia blamed the shortfall on technical issues related to a turbine stuck in Canada, which couldn't be exported to Russia due to Western sanctions. But this explanation was implausible, for two reasons. First, it didn't explain the size of the shortfall, at least according to the German government. And second, a day later, Russia claimed yet another turbine-related issue, further reducing flows. Over the course of a week, Gazprom's flows via Nord Stream fell over 90 MCM per day, from 160 to just 68. German Vice-Chancellor Robert Habeck subsequently described Gazprom's decision as, quote, political, and Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi flat out accused Gazprom of lying. Now, this didn't come as a complete surprise. Russia basically shut off Yamal Europe in April, after Poland and Bulgaria refused to pay in rubles, and there was some war-related supply disruption to the Ukrainian system back in early May. Nonetheless, the Nord Stream reductions were by far the largest in volume so far, and they created a real anxiety in Europe about not just gas prices in the near future, but also their ability to stockpile for the winter. European countries have been warily stockpiling gas in anticipation of a Russian stoppage this winter, when gas demand is at its highest. Anyway, on Monday, flows via Nord Stream 1 fell to zero, while the pipeline underwent scheduled annual maintenance. As we mentioned in the intro, this maintenance was expected, and flows are supposed to return on July the 21st. Essentially, in normal times, it wouldn't be anything to worry about. However, given Russia's recent form regarding politically motivated gas disruptions, it's very possible that Nord Stream 1 never comes back online. If this were to happen, this would be pretty terrible news for Europe, at least when it comes to gas prices. European gas prices jumped about 60% to €150 per megawatt hour when Nord Stream flows were reduced a couple of weeks ago. For context, that's about 10 times the historic baseline, and prices will only go higher if Nord Stream is completely cut off. So if this does happen, how will Europe respond? Well, Europe will still need gas, not just for immediate consumption, but also because in late June, EU energy ministers unanimously agreed a new law requiring Europe's gas storage to be at least 80% full by November 2022 to make sure they can at least get through the winter. To make these targets, Europe will probably have to increase international LNG imports, which are already at all-time highs. While this might be expensive for us Europeans, it could be catastrophic for the rest of the world. High energy prices have pushed much of the developing world, including places like Sri Lanka, into political crisis. However, if Europe can't make up the shortfall on the international LNG markets, then that's when EU Regulation 2017-1938, also known as the Security of Supply Regulation, comes into play. Essentially, the regulation mandates that all EU countries, and the UK, have a three-stage security of supply plan. The three stages are early warning, alert, and emergency. The first stage doesn't really do much. It just sort of tells businesses and consumers that we might have to do something soon. The second stage gives countries certain emergency powers, like restarting coal plants and passing costs on to consumers to lower demand. In stage 2, the aim is basically to get as much gas as possible into storage by lowering demand and replacing consumption with other energy sources. The only European country currently at stage 2 is Germany, which went into stage 2 in mid-June. If Putin does shut off Nord Stream, however, then it's possible that some European countries will be forced into Stage 3. Stage 3 extends these emergency powers and involves active energy rationing. In practice, energy rationing will mean shutting down industry to guarantee supply for domestic consumers. Now, no one knows quite how badly this will affect Europe's economy. Various economists have tried to model the impact of a complete shut-off of Germany's GDP, with the results varying between 0.2% of GDP to upwards of 4 or 5%. The point we're making is that if Putin does decide to shut off Nord Stream, we're entering uncharted territory. At the very least, Europe will see even higher energy prices. At most, we might see widespread energy rationing return to Europe for the first time since probably the 70s. Ultimately, problem solving is always at the heart of politics, whether it be making the electorate happy or solving the ongoing energy crisis. So if you want to do what politicians often can't, consider checking out Brilliant. That's the STEM learning platform which actually features a class on the joy of problem solving. In that class, like all others, they use active learning to help you learn complex subjects like logical reasoning, deducing facts from fiction, and logic puzzles through fun and engaging activities. These interactive classes cover all kinds of STEM topics, from computer science and cryptology to statistics and casino probability. So if you want to make your next step with STEM and support the channel at the same time, then sign up to Brilliant at brilliant.org/TLDR UK. And the first 200 people who do so will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. Thanks so much.